So we're going to be making, what are we making? Sweet and sour chicken today. We're going to use a velveting chicken recipe, which if you've ever had Chinese food and you're like, why is this chicken so tender? How is it so delicious? How do they do that? I'm going to teach you today. It's going to be awesome. So we're going to start here with an amazing little rice cooker. These things are awesome if you like rice, like my husband does. So this little guy has all these different settings for all the different kind of rice that you can do in there. You can even put quinoa, all kinds of neat stuff. So we're just going to take a cup of rice, dump it in there like so, 2 cups of water, and we're using jasmine rice because that's his favorite, and it works with the dish. Put it in there, shut it. Oh, we're gonna hold on real quick. We're gonna plain rice. That's what we want to do. Start and go. So here in a little bit we'll have rice. While we're doing everything else, we're gonna set that over to the side, and we're gonna get started on our chicken. So you're gonna want to get 1 pound of chicken, and what you're gonna want to do is you're gonna want to dice it really, really thinly. Okay. So use a sharp knife. I use boneless, skinless chicken breast, and you're going to want to cut it into tiny little pieces like this. Okay? See that? Perfect. So you're going to need 1 or 2 tablespoons of Chinese rice vinegar. So we're going to go a little tablespoon guy here. I'm going to put 2 tablespoons in here like this. And if you're like me, I generally put a little extra of everything in it, but I'm going to do a real recipe today. If you're like me, you're going to just kind of eyeball it most of the time. So then you're going to use a tablespoon of cornstarch. Okay? We're going to dry this bad boy off so that way it doesn't get all the cornstarch stuck on it. And if you're doubling the recipe like I am, you're going to use 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. I'll tell you I was doubling the recipe. So, then we're going to use 1 teaspoon of salt. It's actually a ½ teaspoon if you're doing a regular recipe for 2 people. If you're doing enough for 4 people, you're going to use 1 teaspoon. And I'll put all the directions and everything down in the comments below. That's what all the YouTubers say. This is my first video, so I don't know how I'm going to do that, but I'm going to do it somehow. There we go. And what you're going to do is you're going to whisk all this together, okay? Because otherwise you're going to get some cornstarch sludge, and that's no good for your chicken, okay? Right before you get started with this, or here in a little bit, you're probably going to want to put a big pot of boiling water on at some point. You can use a whisk, but there's really not a whole lot of fluid in here for you to be using a whisk. Get too crazy with it. And you're going to come up with something that kind of looks like milk. This doesn't smell anything like milk. It smells like vinegar. Okay, take that right there. You're going to take your chicken that you've rinsed and diced up, and you're going to pour it into there. Then you're going to take your handy dandy fork, and you're just going to kind of slosh it all around. Okay, last but not least, you're going to take an egg white. So take an egg here. Now, as a responsible chef, what you're going to want to do is probably find a locally sourced, free-range chicken egg like we have here. Normally we use duck eggs, but I'm not sure how well that's going to work for most people. You're going to want to separate the white out. Oh, no, don't get any yellow in there. Okay, so you've got your egg white here. Pop it in there like that, and whisk away. I'm going to be whisking for a minute. So once you have the chicken coated really, really well, okay, then you're going to take some plastic wrap, or if you've got a nifty bowl with a top on it, that's even better. I don't. Put that in there. You're going to pop it in the fridge for about 30 minutes, okay? Chicken is in the oven, in the fridge marinating. You're going to want to let that be in there for about 30 minutes. It can be in there longer, so if this is something that you want to prep, say before you go to work, it can be in the fridge, kind of hanging out, marinating all day long. and be a really, really quick dinner when you get home, and healthy. So now we're going to work on the sauce, okay? This is not going to be your normal like hot pink looking fake sweet and sour that you get at your typical restaurant, okay? This is kind of a different take on it. And what you're going to need is you're going to need a vegetable stock. This is what I use. You're going to need soy sauce, or if you want to go for a little bit healthier take on it, Bragg's aminos. I'm sorry, I have a parrot. That's what you're hearing. So if you hear the squawking, that's the bird trying to get in the video. That's awful. So you can use liquid aminos in place of soy sauce, whichever you prefer. You're going to need white wine vinegar. You're going to need garlic. You're going to need sugar. You're going to need water. And of course your veggies. And today we're using bell peppers. We have 2 bell peppers here, a red one and an orangey yellow one. We use green onions or scallions, whatever you want to call them. And you actually are going to use the white part. Okay, so you're going to want to clean off any of the spunky looking stuff here. Obviously you're not going to use this little end. And you're going to take, from the point where the stock becomes solid, you're going to chop that part up separately from the green hollow part. Okay, you're going to keep those separate. And here we go. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to put in your vinegar. So you've got white wine vinegar. We're going to use 2 tablespoons of it. One, 2, and if it overflows a little, that's okay. It's like 2 and some change. Alrighty. Next, we're going to do 4 tablespoons of soy sauce. But I'm going to use the Bragg's aminos instead. That's purely personal preference. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right. So now we've got the sugar. It's 4 tablespoons of sugar. I know, right? You could opt for using something healthier in place of sugar, like stevia, or if you're into the artificial sweeteners, you could probably get away with Splenda. I am using an organic cane sugar, okay? But we're using 4 tablespoons right now. We're going to put that in there. And then we need 2 tablespoons of water. So I just have water in this little guy. There we go. And then we're going to get our stock concentrate that we're going to use 2 teaspoons. So 1. Oh, wrong thing. Let's do that over here. There we go. Put that in there. And then we're going to take our handy dandy fork that's right over here. I forgot. I put my other fork in the sink. And then you're going to stir it together. You can use a whisk if you've got one. I always just use forks because they're easier. And you whisk it together until it's all dissolved. And you splash a little bit on the counter, you know, for good measure. And then now we're about to start our sauce. I'll be right back at the pan for the sauce. Okay, so you're going to take a little bit of oil. You're going to take a nice, deep, big pan, and you're going to get it to medium high. And you're going to use, you can use an olive oil. I'm using an avocado, safflower, coconut oil. So you get a lot of good omega-3s in there. You're going to use a drizzle in the bottom of your pan to get things started. Okay? So, probably going to already want to have a spatula out. And you're going to take the white parts of your green onions or your scallions. You're going to take the white parts and you're going to throw them in there. And you're going to Cook them, keep stirring them until they're nice and tender. And each pan is different. You may want to turn this one down, turn it down a little bit if you see it getting a little bit too warm. This is a brand new pan for me, so we're still learning each other. Now we're going to add some vegetables in here, okay? And a lot of times you can find like a bag of a stir-fry vegetable mix in your produce section at your grocery store. For this, we're using snow peas, some shredded cabbage, carrots, and broccoli. Put that in there. Then we're going to add just a little bit of water, okay? So it'll almost steam it in the pan. We're going to put a lid on it, and while that's cooking a little bit, we're going to go ahead and address the chicken situation. Okay? Marinating, and we're going to place it in the boiling water. Now you're going to want to put a dash of oil in that boiling water. Okay? Again, I'm using the avocado, coconut, safflower mixture, and you're just going to take each piece to make sure it's properly coated in there and just place it in there. You want to do it fast so that you're not getting all cooked at different, at different rates, since you're really only going to want to put this in here for a minute or so. Okay? Put that in there. You're going to also want to have a colander and a slotted spoon handy, okay? Now I'm going to put my colander on a plate so the water doesn't go everywhere. And we're just going to kind of eyeball it. And you're going to want to get it till it's white on the edges, a little bit pink in the center, okay? Reason for that is that we're going to toss it in with the vegetables and the sauce at the end. And if it's totally cooked here, you'll end up with some rubbery chicken, and that's no good. So, we're going to keep stirring it. Ooh, it's getting close. It's getting close. And the egg whites and the cornstarch will form kind of like this cloud-looking stuff on the top of it. Don't worry, totally normal. You'll end up rinsing it off. Okay, so our chicken is about there. Okay, so you're going to take this and start scooping it out. You're going to start velveting chicken all the time. It's like the easiest thing ever, and the chicken tastes like magic. And it's like super fast, which is awesome. So once you've retrieved all of your chicken from the boiling water, you'll see that there's like cornstarch, egg white stuff on it. We're going to rinse it off, okay? So we're back to our vegetables that have been hanging out while we've been dealing with the chicken. So, you see that the broccoli is going to still be nice and crisp once we're all said and done, but it needed a little bit more cooking time than, say, the peppers. So at this point, we're going to take our peppers that we've chopped up into about 1-inch pieces. We're going to toss them in here. You're going to add in your garlic, okay? It's about 4 cloves minced. If you're doubling the recipe, if you're just doing it single, it'll be about 2 cloves minced. Mix it in there because you want to keep it fragrant. Look at all those awesome colors. A little salt and pepper. I prefer fresh ground pepper. A little sea salt. Mix it around. And now, that lovely sauce that we made earlier, going to make sure, because the sugar will tend to settle a little bit, make sure that it's nice and blended up before you pour it in. Then you pour it in there, okay? Then you take your chicken that you've rinsed off, throw it in there, and sure it's nice and warm, and you mix it all together. And the sauce will thicken up a little bit, so you just leave it to simmer just a little while. Turn up the heat a little bit, and pretty soon we're gonna have dinner. The sauce has had a chance to thicken a little bit, so you just turn off your burner. And now our rice is perfectly done. The timing is awesome with one of these things. If you don't have one and you eat rice, you should get one. So, I'm gonna take a scoop of rice. And if you want to use brown rice, there's brown jasmine rice. You could use a wild rice, you could use quinoa. You know, I'm just using the traditional white jasmine rice for now. Make a nice little bed of rice. There. And then I'm going to take our chicken. Oh, we've got an angry baby in the background. Dad's going to go get the baby right now. I've lost my cameraman. Make sure I put plenty of meat on there for my taste tester. He likes protein. There we go. This here. And then we'll garnish it with some of our green onions, or scallions, whatever you would like to call them. And here you have a wonderful, healthy, easy, and quick sweet and sour chicken. Enjoy!